litigator turned current Florida rumbler, Viva Frei. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. What was your reaction seeing this ruling?
Well, it's about damn time was my initial reaction, because I've been following this from the very beginning. The federal courts in Canada, it's not that they haven't been reliable. They've been reliably bad as relates to protecting charter rights. The federal courts declared these government designated quarantine facilities totally lawful, not violative of charter rights. So this is a refreshing white pill of the week, that you have at least one judge with the courage, to stand up to the political pressures and issue this ruling, because the context is a little bit complex. There was a public commission to investigate into the circumstances surrounding the invocation of the Emergencies Act. That was a political process where this guy named Commissioner Rouleau concluded that Justin Trudeau was justified in invoking the act. And I said, when that happened, there's going to be no federal court that's going to override that sort of extrajudicial decision. But this judge said, yeah, look, that's a political process. This is a judicial one. I've heard the evidence. I'm susceptible of being overturned on appeal. There's judicial oversight for my decision. And I am differing respectfully from Commissioner Rouleau, who said Trudeau did nothing wrong.
Wow. So do you think the victims of this edict back then are actually going to get some justice? People whose bank accounts were drained, people who were brutalized by police?
No. We'll attenuate the white pill. No, for the time being, there's the question as to whether or not this is going to have an impact on the ongoing criminal, and I'll say persecutions, because I don't believe that these are legitimate prosecutions. But there'll be no meaningful redress at an individual level. In my humble estimation, I wouldn't expect the government to pay millions of dollars to the people who are currently detained in pretrial detention on charges of, if you go to the Coutts men in Coutts, Alberta, they're in pretrial detention on charges of conspiracy to commit homicide. Other people, Tamara Leach, Chris Barber, Pat King, and a number of other protesters who were detained in pretrial detention on mischief charges, they're not going to get redress. The only solution here is going to be the political one, and the political ramifications of what this federal court justice has just ruled, they're going to be massive. But if I'm any one of the individuals who was brutalized, had my bank account frozen, in the context of the violent suppression of that protest, I'm not holding my breath for any meaningful individual redress.
We can end it there, I think.
Canada's looking more like a scary place to live these days. Yikes. So do you think Trudeau will be punished for overstepping the highest law in the land?
There will be no punishment. What are you doing? You're exquisitely annoying. Exquisitely annoying. Hold on. Get him up here. Dog barks. He wants in. He wants out. He wants to scratch me. You don't want to bite my face. Yeah, kiss me. I'm not going to play the entire interview because I think it might be boring for those who have already heard it. This is my dilemma. A number of other people, when they do their live streams, they have like the trickle-in period where they have a countdown and it goes like 5 minutes. So people in the chat are chatting while there's the 5-minute countdown. I find that to be too long and boring, but then jumping right into the stream, people are late. They get the notification a few minutes late. And so they miss the beginning, have to watch it speed and a half, and, not ideal. So maybe like a 5-minute intro clip. If it's repetitive to some, it might be repetitive to some, but it might be the interesting way to do it. So that was Ivory Hecker, by the way. Ivory Hecker, you might remember, as the journalist who quit, I believe it was Fox News, but I might be mistaken, live on air. Cajon. So she was one of the whistleblowers for Project Veritas as well, if I'm not. Si je m'abuse, let me just see here. Ivory Hecker, Project Veritas. Yeah, I'm sure she was. Yeah, Ivory Hecker. She quit live on TV. And fired reporter Ivory Hecker, Project Veritas release videos. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm not going totally senile. So I did that interview yesterday because, people, I'm putting this on blast, and we're going to talk about it again tonight. Does everybody want to watch the end of that interview, or should I just cut it there and we can get into the show? Let me see here. It's going to be a good show tonight. Spend the first minutes, small talk. Says Third Rally. Well, that was the interview. I've given you all the link, but it's on my Twitter feed. It was on Gateway Pundit. Ivory Hecker's doing amazing work, so give her a follow, encourage her, support her. She's doing amazing stuff. Here's the intro. Do I look pale, by the way? Do I look nauseous? I'm going to try something here for the first time on Rumble Studio, because I've never actually shared a video off my computer screen. Okay, I think I do like this. I do like this, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go share screen. If anybody wants to know why I might still look a little nauseous or nauseated, I think is the word. So I'll tell you the whole story about what happened here, but we went drift fishing today. I'm never going drift fishing again. If I want to go and get sick and not catch fish, I'll go clubbing without a fishing rod. I could sit on a pier, catch more fish, and not get sick than going drift fishing. And when you're one person, fine, it's financially cost effective. When you go with a family of 5, we ended up being 9 people. Only 3 of us were able to touch our rods. Check this out. This doesn't even capture the best of it. I was afraid for my life. Those casualties added up. You know, like being on a roller coaster is fun for 90 seconds. When you're on a roller coaster for 3 hours, it gets tedious and it gets a little nauseating. I didn't throw up. We didn't catch a damn fish, didn't have a damn bite. I think we had lines in the water for all of 45 minutes. We spent 3.5 hours going from spot to spot, everyone getting sick. It was awful. But the reason why we did it was fantastic. My sister was in town with my niece and nephew, her husband, and they're like, we got to see you. We're in town. Doesn't happen very often. So I said, okay, kids, we're all going to play hooky and go drift fishing today. Drove an hour and 45 minutes in Monday morning traffic in Miami. Had a very miserable time on the boat. We had a nice lunch when we hit land. And that was that. They still say, I mean, this is it. The kids, you know, they say like a bad day of fishing is still better than a good day at work. I would have rather been streaming. And I think the kids would have rather been at school. So good evening, everybody. I couldn't get a stream in during the day. I was doing my homework, and we've got news yet again. Before we even get into that, for those who don't know who I am, what you're doing here, where we're going, Viva Frei, former Montreal litigator. Former, people, turned current Florida Rumbler. I'm using the Rumble Studio now. I'm getting real used to it, and it's getting real good, and I'm sending in my recommendations to the team so they can keep tweaking it and making improvements. And I got it's so no life jackets. Are you crazy? It was a big boat. It wasn't just for us. There were like 20 people in the back. It was a big ass boat. I knew where the life jackets were. I can't say that I wasn't a little uncomfortable myself, but the kids were staying in the middle. I was just nervous for the people who were blowing chunks over the rails, because holy crap, it's not just that it goes up like this, up like 5-8 feet. Then when they go sideways, like, oh, I won't make everybody sick, but don't worry, I was very sensitive to where the life jackets were. Although, yeah, okay, suffering together as a family says it's all of us together. There were a few casualties. 3 of the 9 had problems. 6 of the 9 didn't, but we're not feeling all that well. Okay, so if I look a little, someone asked in locals, have I gotten my sea legs back? I'm not sure what that means, but I still feel a little flustered. But as I'm on the boat, not fishing, struggling to not get nauseous, what do I hear in the news? I get a message from someone. David Lametti resigns. David Lametti, former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, resigns. Kari Lake bombshell continues, and I'm having a bit of a Twitter spat with Justin Hart as to competing theories as to what this does or does not mean. The Texas border, it's not scandal, but chaos continues, and more. So, as I was saying about a minute ago, Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned Florida Rumbler, former Montreal litigator. And what we do is we're starting live on YouTube. Let me just open up. We're starting live on YouTube, Rumble, vivabarneslaw.locals.com, and Twitter. And then we're going to end and go exclusive to the free speech platform, Rumble and Locals. And then at the end, it's set up now so that it's supporters only. And I'm not sure that they're going to change it or if they're going to change it, but that's the mechanism inside. So when I end the stream on all platforms and go exclusive to local, it'll be for our supporting community out there. Let's see who's watching on Twitter. Okay, we got 181. Jeez, how do I put on pause? How do I put on pause? All right, so we are live across all the interwebs. Oh, and the Trump trial, of course, because the judge in Trump's totally fair second E. Jean Carroll trial, from what I've understood, has stricken statements that Trump made from the stand. You know, Trump can't protest his innocence. He can't call E. Jean crazy, a batshit crazy lunatic who named her cat after a venereal disease, Vagina T Fireball. I thought it was just vagina at first. I was like, okay, that's weird, calling a pussy cat vagina. Funny. Vagina T Fireball is a burning vagina. That's a venereal disease. So that's what we're going to talk about. Oh, let me see what's in the chat. And well, hold on. Coddlefish says, love you, Viva. Been watching you for about 5. That better be 5 years, Coddlefish. Although if you've been watching for 5 years, I've never seen your name that I can recall, because if I had, I think I would have remembered Coddlefish. It sounds like cuttlefish, which is actually not a fish. It's a squid. The world is watching, Viva. You're damn right. And I'm going to put it on damn blast. Now, we're not going to get into the habit of doing martinis with Viva, but the timing works out very well. And there are 3 olives in there, 1 ice cube, and it was the Botanist tonight. Delicious gin. All right, so that's it. We're going to end. We'll go another 15 minutes on YouTube and then end on YouTube and come on over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com or Rumble Viva Frei. All right. Do we start simple? Let's start relatively simple, because there's scandals that are escalating as we go along, and then there's some that are, I don't know if they're petering out, but we'll make sure that the attention stays on them. Okay. The latest news from Kari Lake. What's amazing about the Kari Lake bribery scandal, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know who the guy is, DeWitt, enough, like politically, his history, there are theories espoused by people, one of whom is Justin Hart. Justin Hart, you may know, he did a sidebar on the channel. I like him. And I DM'd him. I was like, I don't want to fight with you on Twitter because I don't want people thinking like this is a bona fide vitriolic fight. It's not. I like him. I say it publicly because I'd say it privately just as quickly. I genuinely think Justin Hart's TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, has impacted his ability to think critically on anything even tangentially related to Donald John Trump. Justin Hart is floating the idea that Kari Lake has exposed potential Trump corruption, and the people that were trying to keep Kari Lake from running were actually Trumpian Republicans, because as the theory goes, Trump didn't want to be upstaged by Kari Lake running for the Senate. I say the theory doesn't make sense, and I'm not shy. I'll tell Justin this to his face because I basically have on Twitter. All right. But the amazing thing is how the media is covering it. Now, you must understand your enemy if you're going to be able to intercourse with them. I am not paying for Vanity Fair, but I will read the Vanity Fair. No thanks. No thanks, Vanity Fair. I will read the Vanity Fair to hear the number one enemy's take on it. The media is the enemy of the people, and I want to know what my enemy is saying so I can understand it, respond to it, and potentially even learn from it. So, Vanity Fair, interesting take. Leaked audio underscores just how much Republicans don't want Kari Lake to run. The Arizona Republican Party chairman has resigned. Holy crab apples, did we have a fun time reading his resignation letter yesterday. Sometimes you're better off just shutting up. If you're going to resign, just shut up and resign. Unlike what he did, and unlike what Lametti did, which we're going to get into in a bit. He resigned after asking Lake what, quote, number it would take to convince her to bow out of the Arizona Senate race. I'm gonna remorselessly drag Justin Hart for his idiotic take. Can you imagine thinking that Trump doesn't want to be outstaged by someone running for Senate? It's outlandish. They've got to use a very nice, flattering picture because we all know Kari Lake, for any foibles that she may have, she's not an unappealing person to look at. I'm a married man. That part of my brain shuts off, but I can identify symmetrical, I'm at a loss for how to say this without sounding like a total weirdo or a pervert. She's a very good-looking person. Period. Just symmetrical, good face, clean hair, carries herself well, and she's not an asshole. So it makes any sort of physical appearance all the more alluring. Unlike Justin Trudeau, who in another universe could be anything else other than the ugliest person on earth, but he is who he is. He's the ugliest person on earth, tied with Chrystia Freeland. Okay, let's see how far we get into this. It's no secret that some Republicans in Washington do not wish to see Kari Lake compete in Arizona's upcoming Senate race. Here we go. A Donald Trump loyalist to the core, Lake has framed this sentiment as an elitist assault of the so-called American First Movement. In reality, establishment Republicans like Mitch McConnell are likely far more concerned by the prospect of Lake winning the primary this summer, only to lose the general, just as she did in 2022 gubernatorial. Yeah, nobody's going to ask any questions about how that happened, you dumbasses? Oh, she lost the bid? You mean like when people showed up the day of and couldn't print out their bloody ballots to vote for her, or voted for her on ballots that were improperly sized? Oh, she didn't lose that gubernatorial bid. It was taken from her. Anyone who pretends otherwise is probably afflicted with TDS, whether it's Vanity Fair or the DeSantis crowd, or at least the DeSantis hardcores. I don't want to start a fight with them. Otherwise, we must unify. An outcome likely caused by her continual denial of Joe Biden's victory. All right. So thus far, the Vanity Fair are filled with mentally, intellectually retardant people. And I'm not using the R word. It's retardant, as in it slows the spread of, like flame retardant material. Vanity Fair is intellectually retardant substance. They prevent the progression of intelligence. Simply put, Republicans want to retake the Senate. Lake does not seem to give them the best odds of doing that. Bullshit. That's the theory. Enter Jeff DeWitt, an erstwhile chairman of the Arizona Republican Party. DeWitt announced his resignation on Wednesday. Yeah, one day after he was caught on audio recording, bribing, and I would also dare say threatening Kari Lake. You know, the cartel, they operate in all 50 states. They're not all, but 50 states. Where does the cartel not operate? There's 50. How many states are there? And territories. I always want to say 52 states and territories, but it's not the number of the cards in the deck. Okay. No, he's trying to bribe her. And some might also say trying to intimidate or threaten her. All right. One day after the Mail published, very powerful people want to keep her out of the race for Christian Sinema's Senate seat, and that he would likely see a fresh face compete instead of her. So the ask I got today from back east was, is there any companies or they're out there or something that could just put her on the payroll to keep her out, end quote, he adds. Later, he appears to ask if there is a, quote, number at which, end quote, she would consider abstaining from the race. But Lake interjects, I could be bought, yada, yada, yada. Okay. We know how that ends. DeWitt, who served as the chief operating officer of Trump's 2020 campaign, said he was coerced into resigning by the Lake campaign, claiming in Wednesday's statement that he was told a, quote, more damaging recording would be released if he didn't resign. What could be more damning than that they would not have already released? Holy, I'm actually kind of curious. Did he like, I was actually going to make a joke that I can't even make in good conscience. I'm not a stand-up comic yet. Quote, I'm truly unsure of its contents, he said. Oh, it's like Justin Trudeau. How many more pictures in blackface of you are there? I don't know. There could be a lot, so I don't want to answer that question because there could be more than I can possibly answer. I'm unsure of its contents, but it could be worse than what we just heard on that recording. Oh, boy. I've decided not to take the risk. I am resigning as Lake requested. By the way, understand this, by the way. I am resigning as Lake requested, in the hope that she will honor her commitment to cease her attacks, allowing me to return to the business sector. I am resigning as Lake requested. Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender? Yes, deny, victim, and offender. What's he doing right now? This man who just asked to bribe, and I say threatened Kari Lake, is now pretending to be the victim. Deny, he did that. Attack, that's basically what he's doing right now. Reverse, victim, and offender. Oh, my goodness. Through her spokesperson, Lake issued a blanket denial of his statements. Okay, fine. For Lake, the incident is no doubt a boon for her primary campaign. It all but confirms her self-portrayal as a Trump-esque outsider. You literally just portrayed her as that in this very article. equally feared and hated by the party establishment because she is. And it's quite clear that she is. Oh, I'm sorry. You think everyone in the Republican Party has clean hands, loves Trump? There's as many scoundrels in the GOP as there are in the Democrats. Maybe not as many. Maybe not quite as many, but quite a few. But it is also true that she is not the most electable candidate in a general election. Oh, please tell us in all your insight, Vanity Fair. After refusing to concede her gubernatorial loss in a series of ill-advised legal battles, I got 2 middle fingers, but I'm not going to give them to you. Lake inextricably tied herself to election denialism. Oh, you mean like the one that they just found how you could hack Dominion in 5 minutes in the Totenberg trial? Oh, election denialism, like, the fact that she proved at trial that on the day of they were printing ballots on the wrong size paper. They weren't being read by the machines. Lineups hours long. Oh, yeah, no, she's an election denier because elections get screwed with. Oh, which could hurt her. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. Is that it? That's it. So that's the insight that Vanity Fair has to offer. None at all. Oh, so now I'm going to show it to you because I would say it to Justin's face. And Justin came back on, I had him back on a second time actually, because we were debating the DeSantis stuff. And it's all good nature. This is not vitriolic. Like I hate him to his core and people should, dog him. I think he is severely politically traumatized, deranged to the point where anything tangentially related to Trump, he just loses his ever-loving mind over. And let me just show you this because it's one thing to make the accusation. It's one thing to issue the ad hominem. It's another thing to show the evidence of it. And for some reason, I didn't open up. Hold on, let me get the tweet. I got the evidence of it, and it's an amazing thing. When one can have theories, but one cannot have what I believe are mutually incompatible, mutually exclusive theories. So the first theory that Justin floated, which, bearing in mind, to the extent that I've determined he has irreparable and terminal TDS, the first attack is going to be on Kari Lake. Find a way to go after her personally. Here we go. Share. Okay. And we go here. This was the first one 15 hours ago. Let me make sure that the timing is right. And then less than 15 hours. Which hold on one second. What's it? Make sure the timing is right here. It doesn't matter. 60. I'm sure this was from yesterday, and this one I just saw today. Maybe it doesn't matter. Kari Lake was employed by Jeff DeWitt's. She recorded their private conversation, suggesting it was improper to do so, scripted on her side as though she's going to somehow not know what she needs to say or not be able to say it properly, to frame herself as a MAGA hero. Released the audio for maximum effect. Yeah, that's kind of what you do when you blow the whistle and you expose corruption. You kind of want people to know that you're doing it. Don't just go do it so that nobody hears and move on. Well done. And essentially blackmailed Jeff. She blackmailed Jeff by saying, I got more damning stuff. You better resign. Dude, I don't think she has any more damning stuff than that because I don't know what could be more damning than that she would not have already released. Fine. So she's a biatch, unscrupulous, unethical, secretly recorded a conversation and bit the hand that feeds her. Oh, and by the way, she's the aggressor and DeWitt's the victim. Okay. Take two. By any standard, the controversy around Kari Lake Jeff DeWitt recording would be one of the greatest evidences that a MAGA candidate was being targeted by the establishment. I think we agree that it is, actually. Who do you think is going to cover it? Vanity Fair? Curiously, Trump hasn't said a word about it. There might be a damn good reason for that, by the way. Why get involved? Why get involved when Kari Lake is taking the wrecking ball to the corruption? Oh, like you think she needs Trump to come white knight for her? She's doing pretty damn good on her own. Note also that DeWitt is very close to the Trump campaign. I think might be the word here. Was, because he was, the campaign manager in 2020. It's 2024 now. I don't know what his relationship is now. Maybe he's right. Before you go blaming the deep state cabal, you might want to consider what's right in front of your eyes, suggesting that Trump is involved in it. Somebody thought Lake would upstage another candidate. Oh, the idea being, because he expressed it in further tweets, that Trump was concerned. He doesn't like being outstaged. He was concerned that Kari Lake was going to upstage him when he's running for president and she's running for the Senate. It makes no sense. But on the one hand, you have Kari Lake shouldn't have done what she did. It was wrong, secretive, and exploited, the innocent, innocuous, well-meaning, intentioned actions of DeWitt. Flip side, Trump is the corrupt one, and the woman who wanted to be the MAGA hero did so, thought she was going to do so by exposing Trump's corruption. It makes no sense. And why isn't the media paying attention to it? Because it might tangentially also confirm the depths to which the deep state will go, the uniparty will go to keep out the populist candidates? Oh, I'm sorry. You think we don't think the Republican governors or the Republican politicians in Georgia are just as corrupt as the Democrat president? No, of course not. They are. So that's the scandal. And we will see what, by the way, Kari, if you've got something more damning, DM it to me, email it to me. I was about to give everybody my email. That would have resulted in my account becoming unusable due to spam. Kari, you got my info. Send me the damning information. I'll let you know if it's more damning. All right. Now, what do we do next? A short one, and then we go on over to Rumble. So what I'm going to do here now, another thing that they're going to, another improvement that they're going to implement in Rumble Studio is allow me to chat from the chat, and instead of having to go to the links here. Oh, I didn't say link to Rumble. I knew I forgot something. Okay, link to Rumble is there. And I just saw a super chat come in, so I'm going to go see if I can catch this. Okay, so link to Rumble. Come on up here. Link to Rumble is pinned, and here it is, link to Rumble. Now, so it's pinned over there. Let me see what the super chat is, but I want to bring it up in studio. Where did it go? They're also going to work on highlighting tips and chats better so that I can see them. Scroll up, bada bing, bada boom. This is not the one, but I'll bring it up right now while I see it. Hey, Viva, did you see the Liberals react to Tucker Carlson's speeches yesterday here in Alberta? I did. My God, I did, but I'm not your buddy guy. And I saw Pablo Rodriguez talking about how Pierre Poilievre has to now come out and, talk about this. So there's such a bunch of virtue signaling, victim exploiting virtue signalers. There's no other way to say it. That says Doug Leaf Fan 69. Oh, I hope you're not a fan of the Maple Leafs. I'm joking. I don't really care about that. Viva, how can a state be a sanctuary state regarding immigration and not co-opt with ICE? However, they cannot. And not co-opt with ICE, but they cannot be a sanctuary state to emigrate. Don't expect consistency in these positions. We'll get to it with the Texas thing, but don't expect consistency here. You could defy federal law when it comes to deporting, but you can't defy federal law, or what I should say more, you can't exceed alleged state jurisdiction by deporting. You can't make it make sense, because it's not about making sense. It's about destroying a country. And at this point, it is a coordinated judicial invasion, judicially approved invasion of a country. Now I'm going up to see if I can find the $20 from CommieTube, and I can't find it easy enough. And I want to bring it up. So hold on. Let me see if I go back all the way to the bottom. Maybe it's closer to the bottom. Let me see if I can do this. And if I can't see, I'm not your buddy guy, so I can see it there. It's got a green symbol on it. So let me scroll up a little bit and for 2 more seconds before I just read it and give up. And while everyone does that, just reach over here. Okay, so it's not there. Almost thought I had it. Is it going to be a green play button when it comes from YouTube? I need to do this. So people, while I'm doing this, go on over to Rumble or vivabarneslaw.locals.com, because we're going to head over there in a second. Scrolling up. They are going to bookmark the super chats and the Rumble rants in a separate thing so that it's a lot easier to find, but I don't want to ignore this, and I want to actually just see what it looks like for future reference. Scrolling up. Still don't see it. And now I'm starting to sweat because this is taking longer than I want it to. What else? What did everyone do today? Never fear, Viva. After we take our shit back, we'll go free Canada. Oh, Viva, will you talk about the corrupt freak Pablo Rodriguez calling? Oh, it's funny. I just did that actually. Calling out. It's so amazing. What's hilarious? I'll play that clip actually because it's hilarious. There's something that people won't actually understand in it. As we say in English, franchisisms. Like when you take an English word and then turn it into a French word while purporting to speak French. And son of a bee sting. Okay, so I'm not going to find it. It doesn't look like, I don't know. No, see, I'm too far up. Okay, the super chat said this. It came from Daniel Boone. It was $20. And it says, "Hey, Viva Las Vegas. Did you hear Kari on Megan today? Your trucker buddy from Southampton, Toronto. Thank you for everything you're doing. Might be time for another convoy." And Tucker will be at the wheel. God bless you, brother. Thank you very much. I did not hear Kari on Megan, but now that I know that Kari has been on Megan, I might go tap some of my contacts to see if she'll come on with me. All right, let me. I wasn't planning on bringing this up because people might not get it. It's a purely French Canadian thing, and I'm from French Canada, and I understand these things. Here, check this out. I'm going to go with this, and then everybody, we're going to go on over to the free speech side of the world, Rumble and vivabarneslaw.locals.com, because we're going to talk about David Lametti. This is going to be the segue into the stunning level of corruption in Canada. It's even worse. Like, I thought I was thinking corruptly and conspiratorially 2 days ago. It's only getting worse. And oh my goodness. Oh my damn. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me bring this up because it's funny. Okay. Pablo Rodriguez, communist number one. Pablo Rodriguez, I believe, was born in Argentina. He's come to Canada. He's a member of parliament. He's the Minister of Heritage last time I checked, but who the hell knows with the way they're shuffling around ministers like cheap dates at a brothel. This is Pablo Rodriguez, the man who pushed the Online Streaming Act, the man who pushed the link tax bill, a communist, as far as I'm concerned, who's now infiltrated our government in Canada to implement communist policies. Listen to this. They're blaming Pierre Poilievre for not calling out Tucker Carlson for his Liberate Canada tour. These Canadian politicians are such a bunch of sniveling puke scumbags, sniveling puke babies, that a former Fox News podcaster comes to Canada and is stirring up shit like it's an invasion. A bunch of sniveling, whiny pukes, babies, cowards, whiners, virtue signaling nincompoops. Have I made myself clear enough? And we'll wait until I get into David Lametti. Okay, hold on.
Lorsqu'il y a des propos comme ceux-là qui sont tenus, lorsqu'il y a du Québec bashing, lorsqu'on attaque les francophones, lorsqu'on attaque la société dans son ensemble, on ne peut pas rester silencieux.
Oh,
Et monsieur Poilievre,
il faut que je suis tellement gentil. Regarde comment je parle bien en français avec une voix douce. Oh, je suis tellement doux. Je suis un virtue signaleur de mon estime. Crise de tabarnak. Are you a terrible, terrible human, Monsieur Pablo Rodriguez? Look at them. Oh, they've taken courses in how to speak softly and quietly and eloquently and enunciate their words while they spew absolute verbal diarrhea. I wish you could understand it in French because the translation's a little bit loose.
Mais lorsqu'il y a des propos comme ceux-là qui sont tenus.
Well, once these, it's not statements, like propos, it's like vulgar talk.
Lorsqu'il y a du Québec bashing.
Et écoute-moi bien, Monsieur Rodriguez, c'est quoi du Québec bashing? J'ai jamais entendu ce mot en français, bashing. This is what we call like French Canadian Quebec. There's nothing wrong with it, by the way. It's part of the culture. Is that you have a Quebec culture in a French culture in the middle of an English Canada with the influence of America down south. And so you have these things like anglicisms. You take an English word because there's no real equivalent for it. Bashing en français, ça sera une attaque. Une attaque contre le Québec. You don't know how to speak French, Pablo Rodriguez? Mais on ajoute un mot qui n'existe pas en français. We're adding a word that doesn't exist in French. Québec bashing. We take an English word, mais si on le dit avec un accent français, ça devient acceptable. We take an English word, but if you pronounce it with a French accent, all of a sudden it becomes a French word. Hey, by the way, Office de la langue française, je pense pas qu'ils vont accepter le terme bashing sur un pancarte, si c'est un mot anglais. They won't accept bashing on a billboard unless the French is nettement prédominante. This guy, du Québec bashing. Incroyable.
Mais lorsqu'il y a des propos comme ceux-là qui sont tenus, lorsqu'il y a du Québec bashing, lorsqu'on attaque les francophones, lorsqu'on attaque la société dans son ensemble, on ne peut pas rester ici.
Lorsqu'on attaque la société dans son ensemble, when we attack society as a whole, oh, hey, you should deny Tucker Carlson entry into Canada, you filthy communist. Deny him entry into Canada because of his words, or no, or better yet, pretend to be a 12-year-old juvenile kid in high school. Well, you're not in high school, grade, but pretend to be a little baby. He said bad things about me. You have to condemn him.
Mais lorsqu'on attaque la société dans son ensemble, on ne peut pas rester silencieux. Et M. Poilievre ne peut pas rester silencieux. Il doit condamner ses propos.
Bullshit, Pablo Rodriguez. Let me just see something here. I want to see this. It's not because, Pablo Escobar. Pablo Rodriguez, Minister of Transport now. He's Minister of Transport? Dude, I swear to you, he was Minister of Heritage at one point. Hold on. Let me just go see that. I'm sure he was Minister of Heritage at one point. Maintenant, il est le ministre. Oh, he's the Minister of Heritage now. No, he was 2018, 2019. And then he was in office. Let me see what else he was. Who cares? I don't know what he is. All right, where was he born? Argentina. There's nothing to see here. It's just a full communist invasion of the Canadian government. Woo! Holy cows, people. It's as bad as you think it is. It's even worse. What can you do? You can laugh and raise awareness because the Great Awakening is coming, people. It is. Okay, now I'm going to share the link to Rumble back on YouTube one more time. Stop it. How do I get out of here? Okay, here. Oh, yeah. Once you destroy one country, it's like a parasite. Destroy one country and then come to another, implement the very same policies and destroy that country. Then move on to where afterwards. It's like every time I see in New York or in Florida, and I know people ask the same thing or have the same suspicion when it comes to me. Hey, Viva, your country's pretty fucked up. Why are you coming here to fuck up ours? I'm not coming here to screw it up at all. And when I talk to New Yorkers, like, okay, guys, so you fled that communist hellhole that is New York. Surely you're not going to implement the same policies here and vote blue here like you just did in your own state and destroy your own state. Surely you wouldn't do that. Link to Rumble. As a matter of fact, some of them are doing it, and stop calling them Shirley unless they identify as Shirley. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom, we out. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. Can I be totally neurotic and just wait until the 1.8 thousand on YouTube goes down to 1.7 thousand and then we'll move over? Remind me never to refresh on Rumble Studio unless I absolutely have to. And oddly enough, hold on as I say this. Chris Pavlovsky has just tweeted out, if you're not on Rumble yet, you should be. And he's right. All right, I'm not going to let my neuroses get in the way of the flow of the stream. Just please, let me see that number go down. It's at 1.8 thousand, 1.7 thousand. Let me share the tweet. That's what I can do in the meantime. I can share the tweet. Yeah. It's not crippling OCD. The number went up. That's the wrong direction. Okay, that's it. We're done. Get off of YouTube. Come over to Rumble. I will give all of you the link to vivabarneslaw.locals.com as well. And we'll take the party over there. So I go here. Locals, come on over. And in fact, before I do that, I'll just read a couple of the tipped chats or the tipped comments on Locals because I didn't see them. We've got Scuba Jim. Sir, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Viva, when you give Rumble feedback, label your suggestions as critical, important, nice to have. That will help them focus on the most important features. You're right. I'm not, dude. I just sent my contact. The other thing they have to fix is that the screen share cuts off a portion of the screen, so they have to fix that as well. But Scuba Jim, I'm not always diplomatic or sensitive to the way I express myself, but I try to do my best so that they'll understand it is purely the most constructive of constructive criticism because we all want this project to succeed massively. Lutka said, did you have a chance to try the Wayback Machine to view detailed accounts like David Lametti? No, not yet. Good. Now we're at 1.7 thousand. All right. Get your butts on over to Rumble, Viva Frei on Rumble, or Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And whoever's on Twitter right now, so let me see how many people are watching on Twitter. You know where to go. Open up Twitter. And let's see this. Okay, good. We're down to 113 viewers on Twitter. That's good. It's just an amazing function that you can loop these into all of your social media. So we are ending now, and we're going to go over to Rumble and Locals only. 3, 2. Oh, by the way, for everybody who's watching, tomorrow, amazing interview. Stay tuned.